Hello, I'm Akash and I am here coming to you from the wonderful campus of Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the #1 top university in the world. This is Harvard Yard. This is the central focal point of the entirety of Harvard College, and in fact of Harvard University. This contains all sorts of academic buildings, as well as residence halls, and not to mention some very important landmarks. Now, although this place is filled to the brim with greenery and some of the oldest buildings in this area, it also would be very remiss not to mention a very important statue. That statue is the John Harvard statue, which is located just over here. And we're gonna take a look at it right now to learn some more interesting things about this statue. I am currently standing here at the base of the John Harvard statue. This statue is apparently the third most photographed in the entirety of the US by some metrics, and that is just behind the Lincoln Memorial and the Statue of Liberty. And in fact, this sculpture was actually made by the same person who sculpted the Lincoln Memorial, Daniel Chester French. Now, when this was made, it came with this inscription, reading, John Harvard, founder, 1638. However, there's a reason that this statue is also known as the Statue of Three Lies, because each one of the three statements here is a lie. For one, John Harvard was not the founder of Harvard. Instead, after he passed away, he donated essentially the majority of his belongings over to the university, which is why they decided to name it after him, Harvard University. Next, for the 1638, that was just the year they named the university after him. In fact, Harvard College was founded back in 1636. And as for the name John Harvard, well, it turns out that this statue isn't even of John Harvard, because by the time Daniel Chester French sculpted this, no one knew what he looked like. The photos and portraits of him ended up burning down, and because they were all stored in one of the other buildings on this campus, which meant that Daniel Chester French essentially had to just guess what John Harvard looked like. So that's why we now have this sculpture, the Statue of Three Lies, the third most photographed one in the entire nation. And one last thing, this part of the statue is tinted gold, and it is common tradition, and almost like a superstition, to rub the shoe of John Harvard's statue for good luck. So, hopefully I get some good luck out of this.